Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with an 80s twist. I'm your host, Clifton, and tonight we are doing a bit of a different kind of stream. It's actually more of a conversation, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, if you saw the title and thumbnail, we are talking about has craft whiskey improved, stayed the same, or gotten a bit worse in the past few years? So I kind of thought of this idea because there's a lot of brands that I visited early on this channel and I tried years and years and years ago, but haven't tried since. And that's no shade to the brands. It's just there's so much whiskey out there to get around to that not to say I forgot about them, but I didn't visit them in the past few years. So now that we've been through what feels like an eternity over the past 5 years, I'd love to revisit some of these brands, see how they're doing, see how the whiskey's coming out now that it's been quite some time. Some of these were relatively young brands when I first started reviewing them. Now they're quite a bit older. And again, this is just subjective. I don't have the original whiskeys, unfortunately, to compare them to. This is just based on my memory of these different whiskeys. So I'm excited. Again, like it's gonna be a conversation. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. Maybe there's a local distillery to you that you either didn't love in the beginning and are in love with now, or the opposite. You started out loving them and they kind of fell off. So I'd love to hear your experience. I actually put up a poll on Instagram earlier today, which we'll get into in a second to get to the results of what people are feeling in general about craft whiskey in 2025. Do want to say hello to a few folks here watching live. Also, all of you on the replay squad. Appreciate you. Love you. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. I read them all. But folks here live, we see Donnie. Where is everyone? I think you were just the first one in the chat, Donnie. Because our good friend Cheech Artolino is here as well. Brandon is here. Doug is here. Tony is here. And Em is here. I'm a craft girl. Even when it's not the best, it's fun to try. Well, that's exactly my feeling too. There's a lot of barriers to entry for craft brands. Even as a experienced whiskey person, I'm often hesitant to try a craft brand because unless I know unless I know enough about it. But these have stood the test of time. They've all been around for, like I said, many years since I started the channel, and I'm really excited to revisit them tonight. So should be a fun stream. Let me know what you guys are drinking. I have, like I said, I have like 5 different whiskeys here, maybe 6. We'll see. We'll see where the night takes us. But I'm very, very excited. If you saw the thumbnail, you'll see 3 of the brands. I'm actually going to try 4 different brands today, just because I last minute as I was grabbing my bottles, I'm like, oh, there's another one that I haven't tried in years. So all going to be fresh cracks of all these bottles. One of them I've had one pour out of, but everything else is going to be a fresh first impression of the newest release from them. Hope you're all having a great Thursday. Hope your week has been going well. If not, thank God tomorrow's Friday. I am very much looking forward to Friday. No particular reason, just looking forward to the weekend as I do every weekend, especially now in Southern California. It's warm, it's nice beach weather. But this weekend in particular, I'm looking forward to this Saturday because our good friend Brandon, who is here in the chat with us as well, will be joining me for another special Saturday night live stream. It's been a minute since we've done one, but I'm really excited for this week. So this Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, so an hour before this, we will be going live and reviewing, I don't want to say every single, we're going to be reviewing most available E.H. Taylor releases. So we're going to have the E.H. Taylor small batch. We're going to have an E.H. Taylor single barrel. We may have an E.H. Taylor single barrel store pick, E.H. Taylor rye, and E.H. Taylor barrel proof. All Buffalo Trace E.H. Taylor releases. I'm very excited. I've never done them all together. I've done bits and pieces here and there on the channel, but we've been wanting to do this for a while, and Brandon's made some great finds lately, so he's made this all possible. So it should be a lot of fun. Tune in this Saturday, like I said. If you're not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button to be notified for that live stream. You can always catch the replay after as well, but I always enjoy chatting with folks live and sharing our experiences with you. So should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I have a sample of a Taylor single barrel pick. Okay, cool. I think I actually might have a single barrel. I'll double check. I have them up in my storage cabinet, so I'll have to double check. What's up, Zover? Alfonso's here as well. All the usuals, the regulars. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And new folks as well. Feel free to say hi. We are a community, but we are a very welcoming and open community. If you are interested in being part of not just this chat, but year round, want to hang out with us, check out our Discord server. You can find it at the link below, bourbonbites.com, which is my hub for all things on the internet, including my merch that I just put up some new designs in the past week. If you haven't seen it, I got some mouse pads, I got some coasters, I got some new hats, lots of fun merch I've been putting up in the past week. There's also a special going on right now. If you are curious to try what we call the Bite Club, which is my membership here, basically similar to Patreon, but we run it through my website, bourbonbites.com. If you spend $25 or more in the store and you're not a current Bite Club member, you can get a 1 month free access to our Megabyte tier, which is the one that gets our after party hangout after every Thursday night live stream. We go on Discord and we hang out and drink and chat and just have a great time. These guys know in the chat, I know how much fun it is. So if you're interested and you've always been curious to try it, you know what? Pick up a hat, pick up a shirt, and get your free 1 month access. We also have a free 7-day trial. If you're not interested in that, you just want to try it out for a week, you want to tune in tonight to hang out with us, you can check that out. Just go to the website, bourbonbites.com, click Bite Club, and click Start My 7-Day Free Trial. But I just want to get that out of the way. I would love to have you guys join us. Our after party is so much fun. But even if you aren't able to join us, there's a link to the Discord there. Everyone's welcome on the Discord. Such a fun community. We actually had someone sharing a local group tasting earlier today, which was a lot of fun. He was streaming it through our sipping lounge, which we call our hangout room. So definitely check it out. I encourage you to become part of our whiskey. I was gonna say Bite Club, but Bite Club's now what I'm calling memberships. I used to just call that my vans, but now that's the membership. But you can join us there too for as little as $2 a month. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get some whiskey in my glass. I'm trying to decide where I want to start. I think what I would like to do, so I'll say this. I have 4 different brands in front of me. One brand, when I first tried it, I just distinctly did not like it. I just told myself I don't like the brand, and I never tried anything else for them for years, literal years. But I just picked up one of their newer releases. They actually kind of stopped making this for a while, and then they came back. So I'm curious to see if I still feel the same way about it or if it's gotten better. So we got that. We have a brand that I thought was just kind of okay, but now that they've been established for a while, they have a bunch of new cool expressions that I've not tried. So that's going to be like our second thing we try. Then third, we're going to go to 2 brands that I really liked years ago. One is a small craft distillery in Ohio. I've actually interviewed the owners of the brand like 4 years ago. I was looking at it earlier today. And I'm excited to try some of their older distillate and see what they've been doing for the past few years. Because like I said, it's been like 3 or 4 years since I've had them on the channel. Lastly, I'm trying a brand that it's a distillery. It's like the little distillery that could is what I think of it in my heart. Not that it's a little distillery. They are putting out a lot of distillate. But it's a distillery that I've not quite loved what they're putting out yet. So we're going to try a contract distilled product from that distillery, and we're going to see how we feel about it. So that's going to be the plan today. We'll see how things go. Again, this was all purchased with my own money. None of these bottles were sent to me. It is all my honest impressions. Not that if they were sent to me, it wouldn't be honest, but I like disclosing it when it is. But no, I picked all these up actually today. I grabbed them from K&L Wine and Spirits here in Southern California. So, y'all are singing a song? What's happening here? Oh, well, funny enough that you brought that up, Doug, because our first whiskey of the night is Old Potrero 6-year-old malted rye. Love the fact that that happened. But yes, so this is the one that I said earlier. I tried their whiskey years and years and years ago. Did not like it. I think actually it was the first malted rye I ever had, like just in general. And I've since found other malted ryes that I've enjoyed, but that one just really rubbed me the wrong way, like 5-6 years ago when I first had it. It is a California brand. I'm in California. It's based out of San Francisco. So of course I want to love it. I want to love local distilleries. California has a few, but they're not, the most well-known distilleries. California is more known for the wine, obviously, but San Diego is known for Cutwater Spirits, which they do a bunch of canned cocktails, ready-to-drink drinks, which I love. But in terms of spirits and whiskey, we're really limited here in Southern California, or at least in Southern California, but in California in general. So I'm excited to give this a try again and see if it's, changed, or if I still feel the same way. There's a chance I could still feel the same way and not like it. So that's fine. That's fair too. And beer. We are also known for beer. That's very true. Brandon said he wants to know how it compares to New Riff's malted rye. I don't know if I still have the malted rye. I will have to double check. Corbin Cash is another one. We don't know if I had that on the channel yet. I know we tried it at the meetup. Also, hi Fred. Good to see you. So let's go and start with this one. Like I said, 6 years old, malted rye whiskey. This did not have an age statement when I first tried it. I just know it was it just said 100% malted rye whiskey. Now I'm sure it probably wasn't that much younger. It's probably like 3 or 4 years. But now they have an age statement on it. Now this one comes in at 48.5% ABV, so 97 proof. Interestingly enough, it's a 700 milliliter bottle, which is typically an international size. So I thought that was kind of curious. It's non-chill filtered. Like I said, 100% malted barley, or 100% malted rye. Do we have any info here? It's at least 6 years old in fine grain charred American oak barrels. It's our take on America's original whiskey, which rye whiskey was the first whiskey distilled in America, so that's true. But it's 100% malted rye, which I don't think was the method back then. I could be wrong. I feel like malted rye is more of a modern take on rye whiskey. Usually it's like young, it's like very rye grain forward. But maybe I'm misremembering, but it is their take on it. So that may be why they're saying like it's it's not necessarily the same style as the oldest spirit in America, but definitely the same grain. So craft beer, yes, this is very, very much. Corbin Cash is probably the most popular craft distiller. Yes, and you know what? I've only tried one of their releases. If anyone knows anyone over there and like wants to hook me up and get them on the channel and interview them, I would absolutely love to. I don't have any connections there. I hear great things. I've only tried one of their releases, so I'd be curious to try more and especially have them on the channel. All right, so let's go ahead and give this 6-year-old malted rye whiskey from Old Potrero a nose. I really hope I like it, because I remembered really disliking it the first time. Okay, the nose is unique. I'm not trying to be nice. It's very, very different. It's so man, how do you put, like, is marzipan the word? It's definitely like clay or something, like a earthy kind of, not like moss, but more of like almost like, yeah, like clay. That's like a weird note, but like red clay. A little bit of like Play-Doh too. It's a very interesting note, and it is what I remember malted rye being like, which kind of scares me. Maybe it's just, I mean, I don't have to like everything on the channel, and then it's no shade to them. It just may not be my style of whiskey. But the nose definitely caught me off guard. You know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna reserve my judgment. I'm gonna go for a taste. Let's give it a try. Cheers. Thank you all for tuning in. Oh, okay. Wait. Maybe I judged too quickly. That off-putting nose I was getting, is there a tiny bit on the palate? But there's like a sweet vanilla creaminess, like even like, yeah, richness that encapsulates like my mouth. Like it's kind of like swaddled by this like very sweet, creamy. I gotta go for another sip because that's not what I expected. I expected it to taste like it smelled, but okay, I don't like the nose. Like, yeah, like if I was going on nose alone, I would have probably dismissed this whiskey and been like, nope, not a fan. But that taste was way better than I thought. Let me go for a second taste. The grain itself is very, very forward. Even though it is surrounded by like a sweet, it's like those caramel chew candies or like a cow tail. I've given this a lot on the channel, but it's like if in the middle of that you had like some like raw hay, like some hay, dried hay from like a horse stable. And that note's a little off-putting to me, but I think that's what malted barley tastes like. It tastes kind of like a barnyard, not like an animal, but just like straight up hay, or like not even like, I was gonna say mulch, but not really mulch. Like I said, it's like clay and hay mixed with like a caramel vanilla coating. It's not that bad, actually. I think I'm experiencing this much better than I did 6 years ago when I first had it. Um, is it still my favorite? I think it's not something I would reach for regularly, but I'm glad to see that the palette is it's either I've adapted to it or it's just gotten better. Like I said, with 6 year age statement versus non-age stated, it is more mellowed out, and I think that's maybe what was missing the first time it was younger. The more I sip it, the more I like it. Again, I was just so caught off guard by the nose that I thought I wasn't gonna like it, but it has such a richness in the mouthfeel. And it's only 97 proof, so it's not even that it's high proof, it's just maybe it's the malting process itself. I'm curious. Fred said I remember it being fruity, but it's been years, plus that was a single barrel. To me, it's not reading fruity, at least this one right now. It's more of like a vanilla and caramel. Like it's definitely not like I'm not getting any fruit on it. It's just like yeah, like a sweet, almost like a bourbon, but way brighter for sure. Uh, Doug says something in the rye flavors is softened when malted. The nose is odd. Okay, you'll agree with me on the nose. Yes, it is. It is soft. I mean, like I said, like it is. It does have a rich mouthfeel, but it's kind of like layered by that vanilla, that caramel. Um, I like it. I don't think this is going to be an easy, approachable whiskey. Let's say you're, somewhat new to whiskey. You've had regular bourbon, you've had rye. This was going to be very, very different for you. I will say give it a shot. If you've smelled it and you don't like it, give it a shot. I do think of my memory of the last time I had this one, I think this has significantly improved. The distillate, that older age statement really makes this whiskey shine. Yeah, I'm glad I revisited that. Would I buy it regularly? I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see what their other releases are, but that one, it's a big improvement. Now, speaking of improvements, I mentioned that I did a poll on Instagram asking people how they feel that craft whiskey has changed in the past 5 or so years. So I put up a poll. I said, "Is craft whiskey getting better?" I said, "In the past 5 years, has craft whiskey gotten better, stayed the same, or gotten worse?" Well, 67% of you voted that it has gotten better in the past 5 years, while 33% of you voted that it stayed about the same. No one voted that it's gotten worse. And I find that very interesting. So, I mean, we got to think the past 5 years, and the reason I said 5 years is because 5 years ago was 2020, where the world shifted in general. I mean, we were leading into that, we were like having a huge bourbon boom. It was huge. So many craft distilleries were coming out, releasing products. Some of them were sourcing, some of them were releasing really young products, but they were definitely all trying to get in on the fun of craft distilling. Now, COVID happened. Many of these brands made it through. They survived. They continued, and they are thriving. Other ones didn't quite make it, which is understandable. It was a really difficult time for people to get out and try new things like that. But I'm curious, like now that I feel like, and then this is a whole other topic, right? Has the bourbon boom or bubble busted? That's another topic for another time. I don't think we're there yet, but it's definitely mellowed out like this whiskey. It's definitely calmed down. Yes, there are still people hunting allocated bottles, but there is not as much of a hype around whiskey, at least in my experience here in Southern California compared to, I'm not in Kentucky. Maybe it's more so in Kentucky. Here it's a little more chill. I think, whiskey was the really trendy thing for a while. Now I feel like I'm not seeing it being as trendy anymore. I'm seeing a lot more, a lot of distilleries, at least here, are all about the experience now. It's less about the quality of the product. It's more about like, oh, let's give you an experience, which is fine. But I have noticed that trend, at least here on the West Coast. I'm curious about you guys in your areas. Are you seeing more of these craft distilleries still popping up, or do you think it's kind of like chilled out a bit? And if it has, like, what's the vibe around there? Like, are they getting customers? Are they getting, huge tour groups? I think back to last year, I visited Salt Lake City for the first time and visited, of course, Adriana, our good friend, Whiskey Mountains. But I went to the High West Distillery, and their whole experience was incredible. They have a beautiful tasting room, a great tour, and it just really was. It was my best experience with a non-bourbon distillery. Yes, they make bourbon, but their focus was on rye, so that was a lot of fun. Do I see that experience? Is it better than it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago? I don't know. I know they didn't have that facility probably, but I'm curious to see if like that trend is going to keep going on and on. Let's see. Wait, what happened? Nothing happened. Everywhere I travel says bourbon has fallen off a cliff. I see. To me, it hasn't really. I get that. I will say personally, I'm not buying nearly as much as I was buying probably 5, 6, or 4 or 5 years ago. I remember in like 2021, I mean, most of it was online. I was buying so much whiskey because I was so excited. There were so many brands, there were so many new products to try. And I've been drinking whiskey since 2018. That's kind of when I first started the channel. 2019, did a lot of, exploration across the big brands. 2020, 2021 is when I really started exploring some smaller brands. Then I feel like over the past few years, it's kind of my buying has slowed. I'm less encouraged to try a new brand unless I hear about it. Back then, I was hearing constantly news or other reviewers, other whiskey tubers talking and raving about these other brands. So I didn't know, I was willing to give it a shot. But now I don't really hear that as much. Not to say that there aren't reviews, and there's not to say that they're not trying uh, craft distilleries, but I'm just seeing a lot of the same. At least in my experience on whiskey, and you guys tell me if it's different for you. To me, I'm seeing a lot of people reviewing the standards, right? Or not even that, just doing their own picks of brands, which is totally cool. But I'm seeing a lot of people partnering with the distillery, doing barrel picks, and either doing a ton of barrel picks with that distillery or trying different distilleries. I mean, we have some great people in our community that are doing that. We have Jason from the Mash and Drum. We have Trev, previously the Shelf Turds. Like, we have a great community of people doing that, but I don't think of that as much as craft distillery. I mean, it is, some of them are sourced from craft distilleries, but they are single barrels. They're not people coming up with new ideas and new brands. So I'm seeing a lot more of that now than I saw before, but I'm seeing less brands popping up. So I'm curious. Jeffrey Wax here. Hello again, whiskey friends. Y'all go check out Hello Again, Whiskey Friends on YouTube. Matthew Parks is here as well. Matthew, good to see you. Matthew is one of our latest Bite Club members over on bourbonbites.com. Again, free trial. If you're curious about it, 7-day trial on the website. Also, you get a free month of the Bourbon Megabytes tier with a $25 purchase of my merch, which is t-shirts. I do it like it's not this shirt. T-shirts, hats, coasters, mouse pads, whatever you want to get. So if you're curious, check it out. Talking about overall sales, talking to people in retail distribution and distilleries, non-distilling producers. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and you've probably had a lot more of those conversations than I have. I'm just viewing it as I don't want to say outsider, because I'm in the industry when it comes to reviewing it and talking about it, but I don't really have a lot of those one-on-one conversations with brands. Of course, the niche nerds will continue to buy stuff. Yeah, of course. And there's always going to be that. But there's always been that. There's been people that have been into whiskey throughout the 80s, throughout the 90s, whenever whiskey was like the least, probably the worst selling spirit at the time. People, there are fanatics everywhere. But I'm saying, like, is it as common as it was 5 to 6 years ago? JT Mellick is doing great things in the craft whiskey world. I'm familiar with the name, have not tried it. Tony also says that. Okay, where are they based out of? Are they one of the ones that a lot of these channels are partnering with? I'm curious. I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with their stuff. All right, well, while we think on that a bit, let's move on to a brand that I was introduced forcibly. I'm going to say not forcibly. Actually, it was I collaborated with the channel. This channel really loved this brand. Like, I mean, it was his favorite craft distillery in America at the time. And this is probably about 2019. And I'm talking about Virginia Distilling Company. So they're most known for their Courage and Conviction line. However, they've expanded since then. That was kind of their first entry into the mainstream whiskey market. But now they've been putting out a lot of different releases of American single malt. So actually I have two of their expressions here today. One is the Blue Ridge Select American single malt whiskey. First of all, beautiful blue label. You rarely see blue like that. Blue Ridge Select Virginia Distilling Company, 93 proof. As someone from the Southeast, I love me some Blue Ridge Mountains. So I was immediately drawn by the label. I'm like, okay, I grew up in that area, so I have to give this a try. So yeah, this is different than their Courage and Conviction line. It is 100% malted barley, and it uses fresh spring water fed from the Blue Ridge Mountains. Distill them in hand-hammered copper pot stills from Scotland, and finish them in both European Old World cask and barrels sourced locally here in Virginia. Now that's from Lovingston, Virginia, is where the Virginia Distilling Company is. Yeah. So I'm curious to revisit this. Like I said, it was probably my first. Let me think back. I think this might have been my first experience with an American single malt, just like the Old Potrero was my first experience with a malted rye. And I'll be honest, I didn't love it at first. I was very caught up, but that was before I was even into Scotch. Now that I'm into Scotch, I'm a lot more familiar with the single malt flavors. But back then I was like, oh, what is this grain? Like, what is this cereal? Like, to me, I got a note on it that I would always say to me it was like a cereal grain. Some people say yellow note, some people say bile, vomit note, which I used to say too. I did get that on this whiskey and other American single malts. Now, I've since had some incredible American single malts. Thinking of Westland in Washington State. I'm thinking of, oh my gosh, you guys named some good American single malts. I've had quite a bit that I've really, really enjoyed. But now I thought it'd be fun to go back to the first one I tried and see if it's gotten any better or if it's the same way I felt about it before. Louisiana rice whiskey. That's right. I remember y'all talking about that. Louisiana. Last neck of the world, Cajun country. Oh, interesting. Stranahan's. I have not tried Stranahan's, believe it or not. I know it's like one of the most popular American single malts, but I've not tried it. Yeah, so let's go and try this. Like I said, this is pricing wise, it was like 40. It's not that crazy expensive. Actually, I think I got it on sale for 30 here. So I thought I'd revisit it. I'll give it a try. Remember, I didn't love this 7 years ago, but I'm a much different person than I was 7 years ago. So let's give it a nose. Okay. It is very cereal grain. Now, there's no age statement on this one. As far as I am aware, it says this whiskey is aged for several years. So it's more than a year old. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the rules of American single malt. I know there are more defined rules, but it just says American single malt and it says several years. So I don't know what I'm going off of here. But on the nose, there's a vanilla, but it's almost like an artificial vanilla, like a vanilla scented candle. The malt is expressing itself similarly to the Old Potrero, but that with that being a rye, it just was so different and weird. This is that same kind of like mellowed out kind of flavor, or at least on the nose. But it does I don't know. It's hard to judge. I don't dislike it immediately on the nose. I just think, it reminds me of kind of what I didn't like about American single malt all those years ago. So we're going to give it a taste. Let's give it a try. Cheers to Virginia Distilling Company. Mm. Okay. mm. Yeah. I don't like it. It it has that same kind of like sour mashy kind of note that I've gotten on it. I'm immediately reminded of why I didn't like it. When I first hit the pot, I'm like, oh, interesting. Then it gets like this weird, like sour kind of like, I don't want to say acidic, but it kind of does remind me of stomach acid, which is why I said the bile note earlier. I'm not a fan of that. And I don't know if it's because it's so young. I don't know if it's because it's just this specific distillery. Because, like I said, I've had a lot of American single malts that I really enjoy. This one just doesn't do it for me. And it hasn't. So, this is one that I thought maybe it'd improve over time. To me, I feel the same way about this as I felt about it originally. I didn't like it to begin with. I don't like it now. And it's been 7 years since I tried it last. So, in this case, I feel like this has stayed the same. But I wanted to give them one more chance. I wanted to give them, I saw that they had a special release also for sale. Now, at the time, like I said, they weren't really doing all this experimentation 7 years ago. But I saw they had this cool bottle, very, very different looking. They had this one called the Brewers Coalition. Hardywood Gingerbread Stout, Stout Cask Finished American Single Malt Whiskey. So first of all, I do love a beer finished whiskey. I've experienced quite a few of them, a lot of them being Irish, but I've also had, I'm trying to think of other ones I've had. Usually, the Irish one I've had the IPA, the Jameson IPA, and the Jameson Stout. There's another brand that I've had a stout finish from. But I was like, okay, I know I like a stout finish. Let's see how this does. Again, it's still 100% malted barley. Proof-wise, this one is 100 proof, so a little bit higher in proof. No age statement. Let me just verify that. It says this limited edition offering highlights a remarkably decadent American single malt, enhanced by the nostalgic holiday characteristics of Hardywood Gingerbread Stout. Just 30 barrels were sourced for this release, which was aged first in premium ex-bourbon barrels for over 5 years. Oh, we do have an age statement. That's great. and then finish in barrels that previously held this seasonal stout release. Okay, so this one definitely has more age on it. I assume the one that says several years is relatively young. This one has more age, which I do appreciate an older aged American single malt. I do appreciate a higher proof single malt. So this one has some signs that I could really enjoy this. Now, has anyone had this? Again, this is not like, it's limited, but it's still available, at least in my area in Southern California. Or in general, do y'all have experience with Virginia distilling? I know y'all had some experience with Old Potrero, but I'm curious with Virginia if you've had some experiences. I really wanted to like that Blue Ridge Select. Again, growing up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, I was excited for it, but all right, so this one, like I said, is 5 years old plus an additional aging in a stout barrel. Sorry, I just nosed it. I'm like, wait, that was good. Hold on, wait. Let me go back to the last one. Very different nose. Wow, okay. Okay, wow, okay. Give me a second to get my bearings. Let me let it open up a little bit. There's a hint. I mean, there's a hint of a similar note, but like, to me, the Blue Ridge Select that I had earlier, again, that was the cheaper bottle. It was like $30. This one was about 45 or 50. To me, that one was so like grain, dry, artificial vanilla. And I didn't think the nose was that bad, but the palate just amplified what I didn't like about it. This one, though, very different nose. Now, do I get gingerbread? Kind of. Honestly, there is some of that element of like the cinnamon. It's definitely mellowed out that single malt note, and I think that's either coming from the age or the barrel finish. It's hard to tell in the nose, but this is pleasant. This is pleasant on the nose. Would I guess it's an American single malt on the nose? No. Would I know what it is? No. But it's definitely interesting. Huh. All right. It smells, if I had to guess based on the nose alone, it kind of smells like a light whiskey. But let's go for a taste. Cheers. Ooh, okay. I was expecting it to transform the same way the first one did, because I like the first one when it hit my tongue, but then it kind of got weird and sour and like, I don't know, to me like acidic. This doesn't do that. This one actually gets better. It gets darker, it gets richer. It almost is like an oatmeal raisin cookie. That's the best way I can describe it. I know it says gingerbread cookie. To me, it's interpreting as an oatmeal raisin cookie. It does have a little bit of tartness, but not acidic at all. The interesting thing about it is, while it has all this heft and all this body, and even the raisin, it's not sweet. It's actually very, I guess, dry would be the way to put it. It doesn't go sweet at all. None of that vanilla lingering. It's almost like a dry cookie taste, like you forgot to put too much sugar, or maybe it's like a gluten-free cookie and you like didn't put sugar in it. I don't know. I know sugar and gluten, but I'm just saying like a healthy cookie. It tastes like a healthy cookie. Do I hate it? No. This is the best thing I've tried so far tonight. Well, I mean the Old Potrero I think maybe was a little bit more. I like it. It's unique. It's fun. I would buy it 100% over the Blue Ridge Select. It's still not quite my jam. I do find it fascinating though. I love experimentation. And I love when distilleries and breweries team up and they share barrels. I think it benefits both of them. Same with wineries. Wineries give their wine barrels to a bourbon or a whiskey distiller. They finish in that. Vice versa, the whiskey distillery gives their barrels to the winemaker, and they have a bourbon barrel aged wine. I was like, where am I going with that? Yeah. So I love the collaboration. I love the idea. Finished product. Let me double check what I paid for this. 50. Okay, I paid 50 for it. So I did pay about $25 more than the last one. Or I guess like $20 more. I do appreciate there's an age statement. I do actually like the spices on this. To me, it's more cinnamon, more raisin, oatmeal. I say give this a try. This is probably my favorite Virginia Distilling Company release I've had. So there's that. I mean, it's not my favorite thing. Again, American single malt, I've had much better expressions, but I will say this one's fun. And I'm looking; they partner with other breweries as well. Looking at their website here, they have a Goose Island Bourbon County Stout at cask strength. They have a Boulevard Brewing Company Stout cask finish. They have a Foothills Brewing Sexual Chocolate Stout cask finish. So they seem to do a lot of beer finishes. So I would be curious to try other expressions of it. I think this is good. It's not something I'm going to reach for. I kind of wish I had a little bit more sweetness. And I wonder, I love Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. I wonder if that would bring a little bit more of the sweetness than this specific brewery. Like I said, this one is from Hardywood. I'm not familiar with Hardywood Brewery. But it did get Whiskey Advocate's top 20 most exciting whiskeys of the year last year, which is fun. It's just not something I would reach for. Yeah, it's not even like for me it would be a special occasion. It just is something I don't want to reach for. Will I drink it? Yes. Yeah, I may not buy another bottle of that, but it's fun to try. Viking Bourbons in the chat. What's up? Good to see you. I feel like, not that you haven't been here, but I feel like you always catch the very end of the stream, so I'm glad that you're here like a little bit before the end. Matthew just had the Virginia Distilling Company cider cask finish single malt, and it was good. I saw that on their website. Yeah, they have a cider cask, and actually it's affordable. I think the cider would bring a lot more sweetness. To me, that's the one element that's missing is how sweet. I want a whiskey. I mean, is that weird? Most whiskeys are like sweet, right? Or is my palate just broken? At least American whiskeys. To me, there's always this bit of a sweetness, whether it's caramel, vanilla, maybe some like fruit cask finish. Like I always get a sweetness with the whiskey, and I love that the most. When I don't get a sweetness, I'm like, this just isn't appealing to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I drink. I tend to drink whiskey after. I mean, like I don't drink whiskeys with a meal. To me, I think of them almost like a dessert. So for me, I want them to be a little bit sweet, which is probably why I love bourbon. At least sweet or smoky or both. That's the match made in heaven. Brandon said he is still not a fan of American single malt, especially California craft brands. Totally. I get that. I don't think they're for everyone. This one's not for me. I will say I've had some cask strength Westwards. Is it Westward or Westland? What is the... I know they both exist, but one's like they do a bunch of cask strength single barrel releases. That one I like. M says that beer finishes can be fun or funky. Yes, this one, it's like, I wish it was more fun. It's not funky. I just wish it was more fun. I wish they would have amped up that gingerbread, maybe given it a little bit more sweetness. I don't know how they could have done it. Again, I don't try 100% malted whiskey or malted barley whiskey unless I'm doing a scotch. And usually with scotch, I go for smoky or heavily sherried. So trying it with a beer cask, it's a little bit different for me, but I do enjoy it. Oh my gosh, Doug at Taste and Sensibility says, let's offset some of those recent purchases. I appreciate that so much. You know what? It's kind of sad. I bought all these bottles last night online because I was like, okay, what do I do for my stream tonight? I had the idea, but I'm like, okay, I don't have the bottles. So I appreciate that. It actually does help out a lot because I will say this stream alone cost me $235.30. So your $20 makes a huge difference in helping. And that's why I appreciate all of my Bite Club members on bourbonbites.com, my patrons, and those of you that choose to give during the streams. Y'all mean a lot to me. Y'all make this possible. You make me encouraged to go branch out and try new things. Because I definitely wouldn't have bought these without thinking that, like, I'm going to make a stream out of it. So, appreciate that. I don't want you guys to feel pity for me. Like, oh, God, he bought all these things and he doesn't like it. This is, the Virginia one is the only one that I don't like so far. We still got two more brands to try. But I appreciate that. Single malts are not widely sweet like bourbons are. Yeah, agreed. For sure. Even ryes, I think, are sweeter. But, all right, we got two more to drink. So I'm going to do this one first. This is a brand, like I said, toured the distillery back in 2018. They're a little baby distillery. At the time, oh no, it wasn't at the time. I don't want to get into the whole backstory. I went to go tour Castle and Key Distillery, which was beautiful. It's on the old Taylor Distillery grounds. They didn't have any whiskey or rye or bourbon at the time to try when I visited, but they did have a gin, and I loved their gin. It was so good, especially their autumn gin. We still buy their gin today. But I have tried a few expressions of their bourbon and rye whiskeys after, and almost all of them have been a contract distilling from none other than Pinhook. Now, Pinhook has so many different labels, I couldn't begin to tell you which color or which label means what. Honestly, that kind of annoys me the same way that I felt like Barrel for a long time. Like it's not very clear what's what. Pinhook, I'm kind of the same way, but I decided to give this a try. It's been years since I've had it. This is a Pinhook Kentucky Straight bourbon whiskey, 98 proof, 2024 release. What else do we have about it here? It says the best, not the same whiskey every year. We blend and proof our whiskeys in annual vintages, a unique approach that allows us to embrace the nuances of each year's barrels, which are naturally shaped by the barrel's oak, mash bill, climate, and storage environment. Rather than replicate flavor profiles, the traditional method, we craft the best, not the same, whiskey every year. So again, part of the inspiration for this stream, they're like, okay, let's do something special for 2024. Now, I just picked this up, but I mean, I don't know what part of the year it came out, but I just saw it in my area this week. But it is distilled at Castle and Key at Frankfort, Kentucky, and bottled by Kentucky Artisan Distillery. Now, it says aged more than 3 years. So again, young. A little disappointed in that because I know that there's older whiskey aging at Castle and Key. I mean, even back when I went in 2018, there was like at least 2-year-old whiskey there. Now I didn't try it, but like it's interesting that they consider this like the best. Now it does say at least 3 years old, and it's a blend, so there could be some older whiskey in here. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I am curious to see how Castle and Key / Pinhook have improved since I first tried them probably about 4 years ago. The first time I had it. I liked it at the time. I did. I thought it was good. I thought it had potential. It's one of those whiskeys. I feel like for the longest time I was saying this about a lot of smaller brands. It was like, oh, I'd love to try this in 3 to 4 years. I mean, do y'all remember, like, it wasn't just me. I think a lot of channels were saying that. Like, oh, I can't wait to try this in 3 to 4 years. Oh, I can't wait to try this after it has some more age on it. That's what we were all saying. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. This is the point where it should be at that point where we're like, okay. They've had a few years. They've aged it longer. Let's see how it came out. So that's what we're doing today. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the thumbs up. If you like the idea, I can do more of this. I'd love to revisit. I mean, I've done so many live streams. I've done like over 300 live streams on this channel. It's crazy going back through all the different ones. So I would love to revisit more brands. If you guys are ever just bored and you want to go through my old videos and find a brand that I haven't touched on in a while, let me know. I'd love to go back to it and try it. But let's go ahead and give this Pinhook 2024 edition a nose. Oh, I also want to say hi. Sorry, I'm not distracted. I see the chat. I'm just not reading it. Emily says, make sure to subscribe to Doug. Yes, you guys go subscribe to him. Also, Donner Pass Whiskey. Hello. Good to see you in the chat. Hope you are doing well. Doug says the Pinhook Orange is their custom mash bill at Castle and Key for 35 to 40. The purple is a cast strength version. Again, I wish I knew this. I just feel like, I don't know. When brands have so many different labels and so many different colors, it stresses me out. And I felt the same way about Barrel. Thankfully, Barrel's gotten better about it. But in the original, like, I was always stressed out about Barrel releases. Very good whiskey bottle company. Their vehicle series bottles are great. Okay, awesome. The Pinhook 7, 8, and 9-year vertical releases are all amazing. To 500 and beyond. 500 what? Dollars? I mean, don't tell me. I mean, like, the super chats are wide open. I don't know what we're talking about. Anyways, okay, so the 7, 8, and 9 years. So I don't have those. This is just the 2024 release, at least 3 years old. That's interesting. I would love to try those. All right, let's nose the Pinhook. Okay. Well, Doug told us that it is their custom mash bill. Oh, Tony says live streams. Okay. That makes more sense. I'm like, why are you just saying 500? I'm like, okay, yes. I mean, honestly, we might be closing up on 400. I need to revisit it. I've done it almost every week. Not every week, but almost every week since 2019. So there's that. Do the math. It's like probably close to 400. Okay, it is. It's grain forward, but it's more of a, almost like a young. How do I say this? Again. It kind of smells a little bit like wood chips or like a fresh barrel. Definitely not like super charred on the nose. Definitely more of just like you're getting the raw oak, which isn't bad. I'm glad that we're back in the world of bourbon. We've been venturing too far out from bourbon. It's a bit of a spiciness, but it's almost like a red pepper spice. Like it's less because I've gotten black pepper on bourbon before, but this one almost has a bit like a mouth watering kind of like chili note. And I love spice, so that excites me. Yeah, that it's like chili, dry, not sweet, and like wood like I don't want to say wood chips. That sounds so bad, but like freshly cut oak. How about that? Artfully Bourbons in the chat. Cheers. I think actually first time seeing you in the chat. I saw you in Perry's chat earlier, but thank you for stopping in. When you get to 500, I become a bourbon daddy. Okay, well, you know what, Tony, we don't got that long to go, so I'll see it happen when it happens. For those of you that don't know, Bourbon Daddy is my top tier on my bike club on my website. It's at the $100 a month tier, which you get exclusive access to me in every way, in a lot more ways than anyone else. Got to be careful with what I say. Cheers. All right, let's go ahead and try the pinhook. But if anyone's interested in becoming a bourbon daddy, I can only have one, so it's a fight for the first person to become my bourbon daddy. Bourbonbites.com. You get exclusive access to me. It also was created as much of a joke amongst my friends, but oh, okay, peanut butter. I mean, wow, that is peanut butter. Didn't smell as much like it. I mean, maybe if you were to say like a natural peanut butter or like a raw peanut, but on the palate that was peanut butter. Let me try it again. Not every way, in more ways than you would ever get otherwise. There we go. Okay. I mean, it's not super sweet. It is, like I said, more like a natural peanut butter. I like that. That's good. I really wasn't expecting much on the nose. Like I was like, okay, it's gonna taste like a craft bourbon. But I see what they're doing here. It's got a bit of a. I mean, I feel like this in a cocktail. I'm thinking like an old fashioned would be really good in this. I love an old fashioned that the whiskey. I love a spirit forward cocktail. That's how I say. That's why I love whiskey cocktails. Old fashions, Manhattans. I like letting the spirit shine. And I think this one with the unique peanut butter or peanut aspect to it would stand out in a cocktail. Now I think it needs more of a. It definitely needs the simple syrup or like a sugar or like a brown sugar. If you were to make it in a cocktail, again, it's missing that sweetness. It's very dry, but again, it's got a lot of peanut butter nuttiness. And I love a nutty whiskey, so yeah, I like it. I think this has gotten better. I would be curious to try those 7, 8, and 9-year-old releases that Matthew was talking about earlier. Maybe it was Doug, honestly. I forget who it was. Someone was mentioning that vertical series. But I think this isn't bad. And with this being $40 to $50, I think it's a fair price. It's not gonna like wow you, it's not gonna blow you away. But it's a solid bourbon. So it proves that Castle and Key, it is a custom mash bill, but it's probably one of the best tasting Castle and Key products I've had, and that's with a grain of salt because I've not had that much. I wish I would have more of it. I do love Castle and Key, love their grounds, but yeah, that's fun. I like it. All right, we got one more whiskey to try. I actually have 2 products from this brand, but I'm not gonna be able to get to both of them. One I'm gonna have to save for the after party hangout. So this is a brand I interviewed. I said this already at the beginning. I interviewed this brand about 3 to 4 years ago. They are a distillery out of Ohio. They are known for not only bourbon, not only rye whiskey, but Applejack, which is basically an apple brandy, is one of the first distilled spirits of our country. And they've been up to a lot since then. So not only do they have much, much older products, again, the products I had back in the day were bottled and bond. They were right at 4 years, which is the minimum. But they've since doubled that age statement on their rye whiskey, which is what we're going to try tonight. I have an 8-year-old bonded rye whiskey, single barrel from Tom's Foolery. I am so, so excited. I've not tried their stuff in years. I really loved their rye when it was 4 years old. I cannot wait to try it when it is 8 years old. Not only that, but single cask. Now, proof-wise, with it being a bonded product, bottle and bond, it is 100 proof. It is a Ohio straight rye whiskey, bottled and bond under U.S. supervision at Tom's Foolery Distillery, plant number 1, warehouse number 1, bottling line number 1, in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. Pot distilled, no fooling. Consistent with the Bottle and Bond Act of 1897, this rye whiskey was produced at one distillery in one distilling season, stored in new charred oak barrels, and was aged in our federally bonded warehouse for at least 4 years. It is unaltered from its original character by the addition or subtraction of any substance. Prior to bottling, this whiskey was reduced to exactly 100 degrees of proof by the addition of pure water only. Double pot distilled at Tom's Foolery. No fooling. So this was distilled in April of 2015, bottled in November of 2023. So that is 8 years old. I mean, that is a great age statement for a craft distillery. The only other craft distillery I've seen with those kind of age statement is New Riff out of Kentucky. So I'm very, very excited to see how their rye whiskey has evolved over the past 4 years. Artfully Bourbon is sipping on the Castle and Key Cask Strength Wheater right now. It's actually pretty solid. Awesome. And go subscribe to their channel. I'm actually not familiar with the channel, but I will check it out after the stream. Look for the gold wax for the vertical bourbons. The silver wax is their rye vertical series. Okay. The wax looks like an ice cream topping. Looks like a messed up maker's wax. Oh my gosh. It literally, so it's hard to see. It's not red. It's brown. It's like a brown. It's like chocolate and caramel. It's very much like ice cream. That's actually makes me just like, it makes me hungry. Actually, I'll show you the Applejack also has a. Oh, you know what? It has a brown and like a dark green and a like a lighter brown. It's like a red, a green, and a yellow. It's hard to say. It looks desserty though. All right, let's go and pour this 100 proof 8-year-old rye whiskey from Ohio. Also, shout out to the folks at Tom's Foolery. I posted this on Instagram and they followed me and then got a message from Tom himself wishing me hope, or just saying that he hopes I enjoy their whiskey. So cheers to those folks. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I interviewed them years and years ago. They probably don't remember, but this is the first time I've revisited it in 4 years, so I'm excited. Like straight out of The Last of Us. Oh, I have not watched The Last of Us. I've played the first game. I heard that the last episode was crazy. No spoilers. I will watch it eventually. I'm just nowhere near caught up. I haven't even watched season 1, so no spoilers. But I've seen reactions. Everyone's Instagram story the other night was just chaos, pure chaos. So don't spoil it. All right, let's go ahead and. By the way, beautiful color on that. I mean, that's definitely one of their darkest, darker than their last release for sure. Oh, okay. Here we go. Interestingly enough, it is almost like a malted rye. Is it a malted rye? Am I crazy? That smells like that old Potrero we had earlier today. It says Tom Herbrook, who I was talking about earlier, is a true distiller who fell in love with the craft as a kid, distilling his father's wine as a hobby. When he began to take it seriously, he made an incredibly prescient move to acquire a historically significant setup from the old Michter's Distillery in Pennsylvania. This doesn't tell you. Shoot. Okay. Wait. Okay. Maybe here's something a little more. I'm just curious if it's malted. Again, they're using the equipment from the Michter's Distillery. 1 barrel a day at Fort Nelson Distillery. Okay, never mind. Sorry, they were sold back to Michter's for the Fort Nelson Distillery. Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up. I'm trying to see. It doesn't say. It just says Bottle and Bond Rye Whiskey. I would guess on the nose this is a malted rye. Which isn't to say anything bad. It's just I wasn't expecting it to be because we had the malted rye from Old Potrero, the 6-year-old, earlier today, and this is a very similar nose. That one is more of like a funky, like a funky funk. This one is really rich and creamy. This is almost, I would guess, I would almost say a bourbon because it has such a richness and big oaky quality to it. Let's see if they say on their website. I'm curious. Applejack bourbon. We distill rye from rye and rye malt. Today we grow most of the rye grain that we distill here at our farm. Okay, bonded rye. Yeah, they don't have. Oh, that's all the info I have, unfortunately. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably a good bit of that malted rye. Which, as I learned, I've grown to appreciate. Old Potrero, I like a lot more now. This one, we'll just have to give it a taste. Cheers. Oh, it's a blend. Yeah, for sure. That's definitely not 100%. The Old Potrero was 100% malted barley. This has, or sorry, 100% malted rye. This definitely has it in there, but I do get some more of those traditional rye whiskey notes. That brightness, almost like a wintergreen mint, but it's really subdued. It's really encapsulated again. This trend I'm getting across the board. There's like a sweetness that's carrying it, making it really, 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 really stand out. All right, let's try it again. Mmm, man, that is good. I could drink that all night. I mean, I know I've been saying like mixed things about all these whiskeys tonight, but it's first impressions. This is the only one that I would seek out. It's the only one that I will definitely grab another bottle of. I really love this. Again, it's a single barrel, but this really is just it stands out as a well crafted spirit. It almost feels like maybe they've taken the few years. Like I said, I tried it 4 years ago. It was good, but to me, it definitely was still like it was one of those that I was like, oh, I can't wait to try this in a few years. In fact, I probably said that during the stream. Well, now I'm trying it at 8 years old, and I really feel like they have found their footing because this is so unique. It's delicious. I mean, it's sweet. It has the heftiness. It almost goes dark like a I don't want to say like dark chocolate. There's like a brown like a brownie brittle kind of like the edges of a brownie. It almost went that with it. They are from Ohio. They are from Chagrin Falls, Ohio. DSPOH 15011. Fred said it looks like they do various mash bills, but I am seeing some with as much as 27% malted rye. I think that's fair. Yeah, it's definitely there, but it's not overpowering. In fact, it's actually a really cool blend to get that malted rye and regular rye. Mm, yeah, wow. I mean, I'll go back to Old Potrero. So far, no offense to Virginia Distilling, but tonight they were my least favorite. I do appreciate the gingerbread one, but like I wouldn't buy it necessarily again. The pinhook was good. I appreciated it. I need to learn pinhook's naming and bottling and labeling and color structure before I buy another bottle. But I did like it. Old Potrero went from one that I disliked very much to one that I actually quite enjoyed tonight. And it's funny that it's 100% malted rye at 6 years old. Now we're trying Tom's Foolery bonded rye at 8 years old, which does have some malted rye in it. Which do I prefer? Let's go back to the Old Potrero. Oh, yeah, that is such a different nose. I mean, it's different, but it's like, let me go for a taste. Mm. After tasting through this full lineup, the Old Potrero almost has like a medicinal, almost like an orange peel, like you're eating the orange peel, like that you know, orange rind kind of note. I don't dislike it. It tastes like it would make a great Manhattan. I can't. Oh, that's. Ooh. If I'm drinking anything in my hangout, it's going to be an Old Potrero rye Manhattan. That sounds really good. But comparatively drinking neat, at least tonight, my experience on this 24th day of April, 2025. Mm. Tom's Foolery Bonded Rye is my winner of the night. It's absolutely incredible. 8 years old, single barrel, 100 proof. I mean, they've yet to disappoint me. I know they have a cast strength rye. I'd love to try it. And again, they have this one that I'll get to in the after party. This is their bonded Applejack. This is a 6 year old single barrel Applejack. Also from K&L, distilled in May of 2015, bottled in November of 2023. So if you're going to join us for the after party, I will taste that there. I know we're at our time tonight. So we're going to call it here tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Reminder, this Saturday I'm going live with my friend Brandon to do an E.H. Taylor all-inclusive stream. We're doing E.H. Taylor small batch, single barrel store pick, rye, and barrel proof. So you don't want to miss it. This Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, an hour before I go live on Thursdays. Hit the bell button down below and subscribe if you don't want to miss it. If you can't make it, I get it. Saturdays are busy. But definitely check out the replay. We should have a ton of fun. And thank you all so much for watching. Again, this has been Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with a 80s twist. By the way, if y'all missed it, we did our monthly movie night last weekend. We watched a very, very retro movie. It was not even 80s. It was like It was from 1939. It was an old Sherlock Holmes film, but you guys recommended it, so I do what you guys want. Listen, that's all I can do is provide for you guys and make a safe and great and amazing and fun community for everyone. So, cheers. If you want to join us, bourbonbites.com. And until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next live stream.